Hey, God bless you. God bless you. Welcome back to Fridays by the Fire. This is me, Sandy Best Life Jones. I'm so happy to be back with you. I have been very sick with the flu and I've been missing in action for a little while, but I'm happy and thankful to say that I'm about 85% healed, almost there, and it is just so good to be back with you. I have not been this sick in a very long time. I'm talking about years. So it kind of knocked me off my feet for a little while, but I'm feeling much better. I can talk again. I can think straight. Still a little congested, but I'm doing better, and I'm happy to be back with you. Um, I We're gonna have a conversation that I believe every person of faith about a feeling that every person of faith has probably experienced at some point. It's that place where you're looking at your life and you're saying, "Lord, I just don't see it. I don't see how this is going to work." And this message came to me because I was on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and I ran across a replay or a rerun of the Mr. Magoo show. And I don't know if you guys remember Mr. Magoo. If you're a person of a certain age like me, I know you remember Mr. Magoo. And he was a just a fun-loving, super sweet cartoon character. And what I loved about him was that Mr. Magoo was nearsighted. So he was practically blind and his bifocals showed it. And so he would be driving and couldn't really see, had no idea he was causing all kind of accidents behind him, but he would just keep right on driving. And when I was watching the rerun, I was thinking to myself, I have been Mrs. Magoo pretty much my whole life. Like things could be breaking out behind me and I just keep going. And when I was younger, I didn't understand where that my capacity to be able to do that came from. But now I understand that it's just totally a faith thing. It's my faith walk. It's my faith in God. It's my faith in the abilities that God has given me to overcome and be an overcomer, to be victorious. And so, even when I can't see what is going on around the corner, I trust that God has my back and He is my eyes. And just like Mr. Magoo, I'm just going to keep right on driving. So, I wanted to bring this to you as a way to encourage your hearts because even when you don't see how the bills are going to get paid and you don't see how the relationship is going to work, you don't see how the dream is going to come together, you don't see how you're going to recover from what happened. You may not see how you're going to start over. You don't see how you're going to get from here to there. And God is basically saying, you don't have to see the whole thing. You just have to trust me. And that's where we're going to start tonight's episode. So let's dive in because listen, y'all, I am happy to say I accept that I am Mrs. Magoo. Yes, I'm out here walking around with my spiritual bifocals on, just trying to figure out where I'm going. I can't see the whole road. I can't see around the corner. I don't know what's coming next, but I am still driving. I am still moving my life forward because faith, as we know, is not in what we can see. My faith is in who I trust. And that's tonight's conversation. Mrs. Magoo, faith when you can't see your way. Let's dive in. Point one, sometimes faith looks like moving without a map. You know, we're going to anchor tonight in the scripture. 2 Corinthians 5 and 7 says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." Notice what the scripture says. It says walk. It doesn't say we stand still until we understand everything. It doesn't say we wait until the entire path has been illuminated for us. It doesn't say move only when you have a 5-year plan, a backup plan, and a contingency plan for your contingency plan. It says we walk by faith. And that means that sometimes faith is simply taking the next step, and that is it. The next step, period. You don't need to know what step 47 looks like when God is asking you to take step one. And listen, I can say that to you because I've been the one who wanted to know what step 55 was when God was just saying, just take the first step, sis. Can you just take the first step? And I think sometimes we make faith harder than it needs to be because we're asking God, Lord, show me the whole plan. And God might be saying, girl, if I showed you this whole plan, you would be in more of a panic than you already are. So I believe that sometimes if God showed us everything we were going to encounter before we get there, we would take ourselves right out of the blessing. We would talk ourselves out of it. We would just take ourselves out of contention. Just think about it. If you knew every disappointment you would experience before you experienced it, would you keep going? If you knew every heartbreak, would you still be willing to love? If you knew the exact pinpointed entrance of every closed door, would you still knock? If you knew every rejection that was coming, would you still apply for that job? Apply for school? Take that chance? If you knew how long the process would take, would you still start? Probably not. That is why sometimes God gives you enough light for the next step, not the whole journey, just the next step. Point 2, Mrs. Magoo doesn't have to see it to believe it. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And there it is. It's the not seen, the thing not seen. That's literally the job description of faith. If you could see everything, you wouldn't need faith. So faith says, I don't see it yet, but I believe God. I don't understand it yet, but I trust God. I don't know how this thing is going to work out, but I know that God can work it out. And that's the distinction I want us to really understand. Faith does not mean you are pretending you don't see reality. Faith means reality doesn't get the last word. And that you can acknowledge, yeah, this is hard, but still say, God is faithful. You can say, this hurts, and still say, but God is with me. You can say, I don't know what I'm doing, and still say, but God knows what He's doing. That's faith. Faith is not denial, faith is dependence on God. Point 3. Sometimes all hell really is breaking loose. Now, let's talk about the part nobody likes, because faith is easy to talk about when everything is going well. It's easy to say God is good when the check cleared. It's easy to say God will make a way when you can already see the way. But what happens when all hell is breaking loose around you? What happens when the doctor's report isn't what you wanted, when the relationship falls apart, when somebody betrays you, when the door you prayed would open actually closes, when your money gets funny, when your friends get funny, when your plans don't work, when you're sitting there saying, Lord, what in the world is going on here? That's when your faith has to become more than a Sunday morning declaration. That's when faith becomes a lifestyle. Or that's when you know faith has become a lifestyle, because sometimes you have to wake up and say, I don't know what today is going to bring, but I'm going to get up anyway. Sometimes you have to cry and keep walking. Sometimes you have to be disappointed and keep praying. Sometimes you have to be confused, yet keep trusting. Sometimes you have to say, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand this, God, but I haven't forgotten who you are. That's that Mrs. Magoo faith. I might not see where I'm going, but I'm going because I know who's got me. Point 4, faith with bifocals. Now, let me give you my new theological terminology. It's the bifocals of faith. Because I'm not saying I can't see anything. I'm saying I can't see everything. And I am nearsighted. So if I don't have on my contacts or my glasses or both, it's a wrap. I can't see. That's just it. I got to have one or the other or both. Um, but when it comes to the bifocals of faith, I'm saying I can't see everything, not, I can't see anything. There's a difference. I can see what happened. I maybe just can't see what God is going to do about it yet. I can see the loss. I just can't quite see the lesson yet. I can see that closed door. I just can't see the new door yet. I see the ending. Can't quite see the beginning yet. Yeah, I see the ashes. Can't quite see the beauty in the ashes yet. But faith says keep walking because God can take what looks like the end of your story and turn it into the beginning of your testimony. And that is something that I have learned over and over and over. Sometimes you are standing in the middle of a chapter that looks absolutely terrible. And you don't realize you're standing in the middle of a transformation. You're looking at your life saying, this cannot be good. And God is saying, keep reading. Just keep reading. You haven't reached the end of the story yet. Point 5, trust God more than your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. And that's a word right there. That's a word because sometimes our biggest problem is that we are trying to understand everything God is doing. And let me just tell you something, God is not obligated to explain himself to me before I obey him. Because I'm the one that wants the details. I want dates, times, addresses, names, confirmation. I want a PowerPoint presentation straight from heaven if I can get it. But God is saying, trust me. And sometimes trusting God means admitting, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know why. I don't know what comes next. But I know God. And knowing God has to be enough to keep me moving right now. Please excuse the noise you hear. They're out there vacuuming the lobby. Point 6, stop waiting until you feel fearless. Here's another thing I want to put on someone's heart tonight. You do not have to become fearless before you move. Faith doesn't mean you never feel afraid. Faith means fear does not get to drive the bus. You can be scared and still obey God. You can be nervous and still start the thing. You can be uncertain and still move. You can cry and still keep going. I've done it. You can say, Lord, I'm scared, and then say, but I'm going anyway. That's courage. And sometimes we think brave people don't feel fear. That's not true. Brave people feel fear, and then they decide fear is not making this decision for me. And that, my sister, is faith. Point 7, practical Mrs. Magoo faith. So let's make this practical. You might be asking, so how do I walk by faith when I can't see my way? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it. Number 1, take the next step. Don't or try not to obsess over the entire staircase. Just ask, God, what is my next faithful step? Maybe it's making the phone call. Maybe it's applying for the job. Maybe it's ending the unhealthy relationship, the unhealthy friendship, the unhealthy marriage, the unhealthy connection, the unhealthy career, whatever it is for you. Maybe it's starting the business. Maybe it's forgiving. Maybe it's going back to school. Maybe it's just getting out of bed today and simply getting through the day. Whatever it is for you, take the next step. Number 2, stop letting what you what you see cancel what God said. Yes, your circumstances are real, but they're not necessarily permanent. Don't let today's situation convince you that God has abandoned you. Your current chapter is not the whole book, it is a chapter. You are on a journey, and journeys take time to teach lessons. Be open to that. It's just one chapter. Number 3, watch your mouth. What are you speaking over yourself? Are you constantly saying, nothing ever works out for me? I will just never get ahead. I'll never find love. I'm too old. I missed my opportunity a long time ago. It's too late. Mm-mm. Come on, sis. Be careful. You might be reinforcing the very hopelessness you're asking God to deliver you from. Speak the truth now. Speak the truth by saying, I may not see it yet, but God is still working. I may be delayed, but I'm not necessarily denied. I'm not forgotten. I may be starting over, but I am not starting from nothing. Yeah, I don't know what's next, but I know who holds my future. Speak life over what appears to be lifeless and trust God. Number 4, remember what God has already done. This is what I do. This is how I remind myself that I'm about to assign permanent emotions to a temporary situation. I have to remind myself what God has already done. This one is really important. When you can't see what God is doing now, remember what He has already done. Look back. There were things you thought you would never survive, and yet you are here. There were doors you thought you couldn't walk through, and you walked through them. There were nights you thought would break you, and somehow morning came and joy came with it. You have evidence. Your history with God is evidence, baby. You got receipts. So when your present gets confusing, remember your past. Number 5, keep moving. Don't let confusion become paralysis. You don't need perfect clarity to make progress. Sometimes clarity comes after obedience. You take the step, and then God reveals the next one. Step reveal, step reveal, step reveal. That is faith. Period. Number 8, turning sorrow into silk. And this brings me to something that I really love, because God has a way of taking things that were meant to destroy us and weaving them into something beautiful. You know what I've been saying. I'm out here trusting God and turning sorrow into silk. Because that's what God can do. He can take the heartbreak and turn it into wisdom. He can take the rejection and redirect you. He can take the ending and create a new beginning. He can take that thing that embarrassed you, shamed you, caused you humiliation, caused you to see yourself as small, caused you to make yourself think you were out here unprotected, uncovered. And He can turn that into the testimony that helps somebody else and you. That's why I don't believe you should be ashamed of every scar you've collected. Some scars are evidence that you survived something you once thought would kill you. And maybe that's why you can't see your way right now, because you're still standing in the place where God is weaving. You see loose threads. God sees the finished garment. You see fragments. God sees the pattern. You see this mess laying in front of you. God sees what He can make from it. So don't judge the work before the weaver. finishes. Point 9, your faith doesn't have to be boisterous. And I say this all the time too. Sometimes faith is loud. Sometimes you're shouting it out. I know God is going to do it. And that's beautiful. There's a time and a place for everything, but sometimes faith is quiet too. Sometimes faith is stoic. Sometimes faith sounds like, Lord, help me. Ooh, help me, Jesus. Sometimes it's, I don't understand. Sometimes it's, Lord, I'm tired. Sometimes it's, I don't know if I can do this. And then sometimes faith is simply you saying, God, I'm still here. And that's enough. That is enough. Because the fact that you're still reaching for God while you're hurting, that is faith. The fact that you're still praying while you're confused, that's faith. The fact that you're still getting up after disappointment, that's faith. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Mommy's ringing my intercom. They're trying to distract me, but I ain't going to be distracted. Because the fact that I'm still believing there's more for me, that's faith. So in my closing, I want to welcome you to the Mrs. Magoo Club. Membership requirement, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to see the whole road. You don't have to know exactly how everything is going to work out. You just have to be willing to trust God enough to keep walking. Because maybe you're standing at a place in your life where everything looks blurry. Maybe you can't see the next opportunity, the next financial breakthrough. Maybe you can't see your healing. Maybe you can't see the purpose in what you've been through. Maybe you can't see how you're going to rebuild. But hear me tonight when I say, you don't have to see it to trust God. You don't have to understand it to obey God. You don't have to know the destination to take the next step. And you don't have to have 20/20 vision when you've got a God who can see around every corner. That's why Proverbs 3 tells us, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. In other words, stop trying to figure out everything God is doing. Instead, trust him, walk, pray, believe, keep going. And when your vision gets blurry, put on your bifocals of faith. That's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for being with me. It was so good to be back. And I will see you again next week for another episode of Fridays by the Fire. But in the meantime, y'all be good. Keep trusting God. God bless.
I wore my doubts like lace. When I was happy, had to tell my face. Smile through the ache. Then I had enough. Looked in the mirror, saw heaven in my frame. No more begging for a secret, make sure they know my name. You said, no, don't you worry about what tomorrow holds. Birds still get their breakfast. And flowers still unfold. So I'm laying it down, this heavy little crown. If you feed the sparrow, you cover me now. I'm breathing again, I'm letting it go. You know what I need before I know I am enough, enough. Held in your love. Seek first the kingdom, love will come in time. So I trust you now, lead me somehow. Today is enough, my life is in your hands. I used to chase to win, thought they owed me more. Tried to force the door till you opened my eyes. Show me I matter, I am the prize. No more fear in the dark. now. Lead me somehow. Lead me somehow. Today is enough. My life is in your hands. Ain't crying no more if you close that door. Close that door. It was never my door. Never my door. Look at the field. Look at the birds. You were faithful then. Always put me first. I don't chase what fades. I choose what remains. I'm covered in grace. Trust in your words. Seek in your face. I am enough. Enough. Held in your love. Love. Seek first the kingdom. Love always comes on time. I trust you now. I trust you now. Lead me somehow. Lead me somehow. Today is enough. My life is in your hands. Yeah, I'm enough. Orders my steps. Yeah, I'm enough. He knows what's next. Seek first. Seek first. I rest. No stress. I know my life is in your hands.